Hi there! The Boyer sisters back to answer your questions. Last week we covered beauty. This week we are covering the all-important lifestyle. Alright, the first question is from Carrie. Now that you are no longer going to be singing as a trio and Bridget is getting married, what are Jessica and Charlotte's plans?
Well, as far as singing goes, I plan to start practicing more jazz because that's a genre that I really like, and I can sing a lot of vintage songs that way, which I still have a huge passion for singing vintage music. And some of you have heard about my drawing abilities and the fact that I've picked that up. I am going to continue that. I'm putting together a portfolio that I will be sharing on the blog at some point soon. And I will definitely be sewing a lot more, I think, this year than last year because of the amount of time that we'll have.
Yep.
And we'll have one less sewer in the house, so that means more space.
For me, I'm going to be continuing to study music just like Jessica. I am picking up piano again. I'll be improving my technique as a soprano because I've been singing as an alto for the past 3 years and I am actually a high soprano naturally. So I'm going to be pursuing opera and that type of thing, and I'm also going to be pursuing my love of photography and finally starting up that photography business I've only dreamed about so far. Other than that, Jessica and I together are probably going to be like going on more adventures because like zip lining and visiting Bridgie and that type of thing. So
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll have fun.
Yeah.
So the next question is from Emmeline Grace. What is each of your girls' favorite book to read? I really love theology and reading those types of books, but like if I was to name a book that kind of covers both fiction, theology, and just really encourage a lot of encouragement into one, be Stepping Heavenward. I love that book, and you can read it throughout your life and be encouraged. So that's a really good one.
Jess, you want to go? Because I'm still thinking.
Yeah. My favorite book, well, it has to have nature, it has to have the Lord, and it has to have really interesting characters in it that grow throughout the book. And all of those combined mean that I really enjoy Gene Stratton Porter's books, like The Harvester, and Freckles and Girl of the Limberlost, and I love her writing.
I'll just substitute by saying my favorite book that I've read recently, just because it's so extremely helpful, is the 5 Love Languages book by Gary Chapman. It's so amazingly helpful in understanding people. I highly recommend reading that one. So.
And we're in her bedroom right now. The book is right over there, so that's why she was able to just look over and see it. Okay, yeah. Oh, it's over there. The next question is from Bonnie. For all you girls, what is the most important lesson you learned in your teenage years? Jessica, oh wait, no, that's me starting it. Okay. So for me, I'm still in my teenage years. I'm about to come out of them, but the most important lesson I am learning is that you will change a lot, physically and spiritually, mentally, what you think about things, you will change, and so just be flexible. Leave yourself room to grow, and don't take yourself too seriously, because goodness knows I look back on the blog when I was 14 and I'm like, who did I think I was? What type of opinion did I have? So yeah, just don't take yourself too seriously, be flexible, and just draw yourself closer to the Lord, and just pray to have a closer relationship with Him. And yeah, and also explore your interests. Don't get so swamped in school that you can't explore what you love.
Yeah.
So for me, I love sewing and I love photography, and I always left time for me to explore those things.
So you cram all your schoolwork into as few hours as possible, and then do all the things you enjoy.
Don't just swamp yourself in academics, because that's not...
Unless that's what you love to do.
Right, unless you're going to be a teacher or something like that. But if you're a creative soul who, like, you know that you have something else that you want to do, make time for that.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely. Cultivate it.
I would say the most important lesson I learned, that was the biggest lesson I've learned, is to trust, because I'm a worrier. Definitely. I'm the most high-strung person out of this family. So to just let go and to trust the Lord that everything's going to work out and everything will be better than I imagine it to be. So that's the biggest lesson I've learned.
I think that the biggest lesson that I learned in my teen years is how important prayer is. In my own life, I got to see God was very gracious, and He answered a lot of very important questions and requests that I had in my teen years, and that was so very vital, I believe, to my relationship with Him, because this year has been extremely difficult with having to break up with somebody that you loved, and prayer got me through that time, even whenever I was just in literally the depths of despair, and I hated the world that I lived in. Even though I was surrounded by good things, it didn't matter. I just felt so dead. But if I didn't have that foundation in my teen years, I think that this year would be very different, and I would not be healed as fully as I am now if I didn't go to the Lord in prayer as I do and as I have.
So the next question is from Mary. When you decorate your own homes, will they be completely vintage or just have some vintage elements?
I get to answer this one first. No, they will not be completely vintage, and I'll tell you, well, at least not for me. Because I, shocking, do not like the vintage style of decorating. I'm minimalist, eclectic, so there will be like vintage pieces, but it's not like you are going to walk into my house and it's going to look like you stepped into the 1940s. No.
I think whenever you walk into her house, I think you'll find a lot of storage spaces, because she and Gabe have a lot of stuff that needs storage.
So probably a lot of
indoors.
The dream is cedar chests to store everything in.
Yeah.
Probably will be boxes for a while.
China cabinets and desks.
And it'll look like, wood and quality and stuff that's meant to last, classics, but it won't look vintage.
Bridgie definitely isn't as much of a decorator, I'd say. She lets her stuff decorate her space instead of like having
I'm picky when it comes to stuff and how it looks. It's just like going out and looking for stuff. It's like I have to like completely reorient my brain.
I have to say that for me, I can't. If I let myself, I'd get utterly obsessed with interior decor.
She would.
So I was actually responsible for overhauling Bridgie's bedroom a couple years back. So for me, it's not going to be strictly vintage because I don't like to put myself in a box like that. So I would say that I'm more going to be going to antique stores and thrift stores and finding vintage plates to hang on the wall, vintage pictures, as well as infusing modern elements and just going with a very clean design with really beautiful eclectic pieces. So.
Yeah, I could never see myself decorating exclusively vintage and picking out vintage color palettes and trying to find furniture that had a vintage flair to it. Well, maybe that.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go the full-blown vintage decor. It just sounds really extravagant to me. Charlotte and I have very similar style whenever it comes to decor. That's why we're sharing a room.
It's so nice.
Yes, it is. We think alike as far as that goes. So my house will have clean spaces with accessories that are from the older eras. It may be antique, it may be vintage, it may be modern. But it will definitely have a very appealing look.
The next question is from Mia. I would love to hear some tips on how to raise young Christian women who appreciate the vintage eras as you girls do. I'd love to raise my daughters the way you have been and hope that my daughter, single daughter, the way you have been, and I hope that she is like you three lovely girls. That is so sweet.
Yes,
Thank
it
you,
is.
Mia.
That's a
My
very,
goodness.
very big
But
compliment.
all the glory be to God because He equipped our parents.
So, I have one main thing to say regarding that is give your daughter freedom to explore for herself. If don't press her into wanting to wear vintage. Give her the tools though to find out what she wants, what she enjoys, and what she likes to do. Because that's the one thing that our parents did for us is they gave us the tools and encouraged us in our interests, even if it was something they didn't understand. But they would question us about what we were doing. They'd ask, to what end are you doing this? With vintage fashion, it was like Mom would ask, is this wearable? And I would find a way to make it wearable. And so give your daughter the freedom to explore and don't push her into one thing.
Yeah. And also, we girls were heavily influenced by our mom as far as just having a foundation of stylishness and a love of fashion, because Mom has always dressed very well. She was never the sweatpants, high bun type of mom. She always would wear something very tasteful, and she always had some sort of jewelry and makeup on, and that just really set a foundation for us girls. So set an example for your daughter, and she will follow in your footsteps, believe me. And it doesn't hurt to plant seeds, like say, hey, what do you think about this? Have you ever looked into this? As she gets older or whatever, but just let her be free to explore what she loves to do, to explore her passions. And if you set an example, she'll definitely follow in your footsteps.
Yeah.
So, the next one is from Marlene Simon. I hope that I'm pronouncing your name right.
Simon.
Simon. I know you're from France, so.
She's such a sweet reader.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you speak any other languages?
We don't fluently speak any other languages.
No.
I will say that Bridget, did we all?
Yeah, we all took French.
We all took French,
Yeah.
surprisingly, before you came along.
Yeah. In our high school years, we all took French, and
Yes.
hasn't really stuck too much.
It's stuck a wee bit.
The next question is from Elsie Ann. My question is, do you girls plan to go to college, do college online, or pursue higher education in any way?
We're not going to go to college or do college online, but we're always educating ourselves.
Yes.
We are always learning. That's the one thing that Mom and Dad taught us to do, is to always learn.
And
Always seek learning.
That's very valuable.
So.
And the next question is from Madeline. Would any of you ever do missions work away from home or go to a different country, or do you believe that it is wrong to be out from under your father until you are married? So our belief in this is that the best way to go on a missions trip is to go as a family. And so if we were to ever go on a missions trip, we'd do it as a family. We are not inclined to the belief that you can go out from under your father's headship and go to like a different country or a different state without his protection. But I know people disagree with us on that. So, everyone has their own beliefs, but we believe that the best way to do missions is as a family unit. So, the next question is from Heidi Keck, and she asks, what are some of the things you most value about homeschooling? The thing I value most about homeschooling is the how you can be encouraged to learn on your own and to be independent in what you learn, as well as exploring your interests.
Yeah.
So you are not confined to a school schedule that lasts for 6 hours, and instead you
6 hours,
can-
more than 6 hours.
Yeah, sure. Like,
Yeah.
hours and hours. Instead, you can schedule out your academic studies so that way you can also include creative studies, which was so important for us girls. We would not be able to do what we're doing now if we had not been able to make the pipe cleaner dolls that we did at age 8, explore doll houses, and look at old history books about fashion and that type of thing. We had a lot of time. So that is my favorite part about homeschooling.
And counting that as learning.
Yes.
Counting that as part of your education.
Because that is education. You're educating yourself on how things work together, how you can make things, how you can implement history into your life, that type of thing.
I think we all agree on that.
Yeah. Okay, next one is from Emily. I was wondering about dancing. In some of your posts, I recall you mentioning dancing at Charlotte's party. Do you live in a community where people know how to do those dances? My sisters and I love folk dancing, but our community likes football, and football. Nothing against the sport, but it gets rather dull. So it is hard to dance.
Yes, we live in a community that they know how to do the dances, but I will tell you, it's very difficult to get people at our church to dance. We have our church community, and then we have our community that we've gathered from different churches that we've been to over the years. So that community that we built up around us, who all live in the area, they all love to dance. It's hard to get together, but when we get together, everyone's like clamoring for, please let's dance.
So the next question is from Jenna H, and she asks, what is your daily devotional routine? So for me, we always do family worship in the morning, so that just kind of covers that for all of us girls. We always do family worship, and for me, I might read a theology book in the middle of the day. I'll always try and set aside time for that, but in the evening, I always read a chapter from Scripture and take time to pray. Yeah. So it's just a great way to finish off the day for me.
That's what I do too. Only... Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Yep.
So. Also, I will say at this, Gabe and I, as we've been counting down to our wedding day, we've actually been reading a psalm each day, according to the number of days left until the wedding. So,
what psalm is it today?
It's Psalm 11 today.
11 days!
Well, whenever we put this up,
it will be counting up by that point.
Yeah. How many days have we been married?
Right.
Okay. So the next question is from Kristen V. I know the Lord put each of you on certain paths that were best for you. However, is there ever anything that you wish you had done growing up or wish to do?
Oh, me.
Go ahead, I'll answer next.
Okay. I really wish that I had learned how to work my way around mechanics and figure out how to take things apart and put them back together and fix things in general and not be afraid to, because I actually, this is a really funny thing, but whenever I was really small, I used to be afraid to even like touch the shower nozzle to like pull it. We had one of those things that popped out and you pulled it and the shower head came on, and it no longer spit out the downspout. And I thought that the whole thing was like going to explode if I did that. And so that, it's always kind of been like a weird fear of mine, and I've always wished that I could learn how to be a little bit more adept in that area.
I think it would probably be, I mean, the dream that I always had was to start up a clothing business.
Fashion line.
Yeah. And just know how to do that. I guess the thing would be is I wish that I actually had the drive to go and do everything necessary in order to do that. I don't. Not in the normal way that everyone does it. So I might fulfill that dream in a different way. Bridgie Patterns is sort of like fulfilling that dream in a different way. But that's probably one thing that I wish I could have done, because I had a dream of starting a clothing line at the age of 16. That didn't happen.
For me, it's not... I always hear about families where they travel a lot, and I love traveling, and so I can't go back and change that about my childhood, but I do want to implement more in my lifestyle where I can, just more independence and flexibility when it comes to like traveling. I want to explore and I want to learn, and so that's something I wish to do later on as I continue my life. The next question is from Miss Sarah K. Once again, what is your favorite time of day? When are you most productive? For me, I am most productive after lunch, I'd say. That's whenever I get like the most stuff done. In the morning, I usually work out, take a shower, that type of thing. It takes up most of my morning. But I get a lot of stuff done in the afternoon.
Is that your favorite time of day?
My favorite time of day is always the evening because I get to relax and watch a movie.
I think my favorite time of day is probably the evening too. And I'm probably actually most productive at night, at least mentally.
Oh yeah.
I'm annoying because of that. Because these two are not night owls whatsoever. And my schedule has never been one of a night owl. Because I get up early in the morning and have to go to bed by a certain time. But if I could, I would probably be most productive at night. It doesn't work very well with these two.
Yeah. I would say that my favorite time of day is the morning, because it's a new day and I get to exercise at that time of day. I'll usually go on a walk or a run, or if it's raining, I'll stay inside and do a fitness blender. So it's my favorite time because I get to exert all my energy and just like, get ready for the day. And my least favorite time of day actually is right before I go to bed because I feel the least productive and drained.
Oh my.
So I don't, and I like being productive. So not really having an interest in being productive actually kind of wears me down. So it's a good thing because then I go to sleep better, but I don't know. I just like, I like the jump start.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was the last question of the lifestyle segment. Thank you all for joining us once again. I hope that we answered your questions well, and join us next week for the music segment. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.